Tsurugi Yoshichika lives an ordinary life along with his little sister and father, but he has a secret. He once was a Logicalist, someone who confused with any other worldly goddess to fight and defeat demon invaders, possessing godly might. But 2 years prior, in a massive catastrophic event, Tsurugi used all of his logic to save Hong Kong from the foreigners' invasion, losing all his powers in the process. Now he lives as a normal citizen away from all the fighting, but destiny has other plans for him. As following his encounter with the Goddess Athena, Tsurugi once again wields the unmatched potential of his logic, returning to face the foreigners and protect his world, Septpia. Logic is the concept that governs emotions, abilities, memories, and all other non-realistic properties that make up life in various worlds. And one of those worlds is Tetra Heaven, where the gods of good and evil fought for centuries. But knowing their approaching defeat, the demon gods began escaping to other worlds through gates, one of those worlds being the human realm named Septpia. To tackle these unwanted guests, the government formed ALCA, an organization who, with the help of the pure goddesses, aka convents, allow the few chosen humans, aka Logicalists, to wield godly strength and protect their world. The fusion between the two allows one to enter into a trance, combining each other's logic to gain godly strength. We follow Tsurugi Yoshichika, a young blue-haired man who 2 years back was a Logicalist, but during a massive foreigner invasion in Hong Kong, he went and used up all his logic to save everyone. Having lost his powers, he now lives an ordinary life in the city, along with his father and little sister Shirori. As the three enjoy their morning breakfast, an alert is issued warning citizens of a foreigner appearance. This, however, is but a normal scale invasion, so no one appears worried. Elsewhere, neutralizing this foreigner are the three ALCA human goddess couple, Tamaki and her goddess Venus, Chloe and her goddess Valkyrie, and Mana with her goddess Artemis. Displaying some impressive teamwork, this trio easily takes down the demon, and Chloe delivering the final slash. Just as it falls, the foreigner that had forcefully attached itself to a human separates. Back at the Yoshichika residence, Shiori reminds Tsurugi of their father's upcoming birthday, for which they head to the mall and look for a suitable gift. But during this shopping spree, another high alert is issued, this time of a much larger scale. Before anyone can evacuate, the foreigner comes crashing through the ceiling, landing within the mall. Covering the demon god is a zone known as the Paradox Zone, which upon contact will kill any living thing. As everyone begins evacuating, a young boy is left stranded near the Paradox Zone, so to bring him some time to escape, Tsurugi places himself in grave danger, engaging the beast on his own. Dodging one of the attacks, he runs into a white-haired girl who escorts him outside, while the ALCA team arrives to neutralize the threat. As the battle commences, the trio once again, with their unique abilities, gains the upper hand. The demon, however, manages to separate from the human under control and makes a run for it. Hence, they first choose the gate from which it arrived, and then head to look for it. Following the commotion, Tsurugi confronts the girl in white, who introduces herself as the Goddess Athena, expressing her interest in becoming his covenanter. He first proceeds to reject this offer, but seeing his logic card with Athena, which contained his powers that he had lost, Tsurugi decides once again to become a Logicalist. With a kiss, they both seal this contract, fusing their logic into something with extraordinary strength. Elsewhere, the same foreigner has reappeared and is slowly chipping away at the trio's health, all three nearing their trans limit. If the trans limit is reached, the human goddess fusing will be undone and the girls left powerless. But just in the nick of time, Tsurugi arrives with his newfound powers, creating a massive protective shield before the girls. Distracting the demon, he gives Valkyrie enough time to land one massive hit, knocking out the foreigner. With this, the day is saved and Tsurugi officially rejoins ALCA. He bids farewell to Shiori and his father, moving into the ALCA branch along with the trio. But having exhausted his strength, a tired Tsurugi heads straight to his room, cutting out on Tamaki's introduction, making her feel irritated. Next day, following an amazing night of sleep, Tsurugi and Athena head to meet the ALCA director, Jano Utsutsuno, who expresses his appreciation towards Tsurugi's heroic efforts in Hong Kong 2 years ago, welcoming him back. Although since he is technically a new recruit, he and Athena will take a trial period, where multiple tests will be conducted. Following the meeting, another Logicalist named Olga Breakchild introduces himself, asking Tsurugi to stay sharp as he predicts great harm in his future. Later that day, the main duo, along with the girls and another new recruit named Nanahoshi, take part in a multiple choice question-based trial, reviewing all the information they have on the foreigners and the goddesses. Not seeing Olga anywhere, Tsurugi questions his whereabouts, which his commander-in-chief Veronica dismisses immediately, saying not to mention him in her presence. Following this test, in which Tsurugi and Tamaki take perfect scores, they all have dinner, during which he realizes Tamaki's behavior towards him and apologizes for the other day when he disrupted her introduction. Accepting his apology, she asks to know his trance time, the total time in one's life that they have spent in a trance, showing her to be 225 hours. Tsurugi hasn't even checked his trance time, so when he does, everyone is in utter shock to see a 2066-hour time. Though given the unique circumstance he lived under before his retirement, the number is quite justifiable. Finishing up with lunch, the team begin further training in a virtual reality simulator, battling a foreigner's hyper-realistic simulation. Watching them train from the control room are Veronica, Nanahoshi, and Nemesis, Veronica's Covenanter. That is when Olga enters, wishing to see everyone in action. Meanwhile, with Tsurugi in the lead, the girls make quick work of the demon and return to the control room. That is when, seeing Olga standing there, Tsurugi questions as to why he never shows in group activities. But before the conversation can proceed, a foreigner alert alarms. Believing it to be a low-level one, only Tsurugi is dispatched to neutralize it, which he does without any need of battle. Wrapping up his task, he quickly catches up to Olga, finding him in the foreigner containment area, questioning him about his intentions of being there. It is revealed that Olga is yet to partner with an otherworldly being, so he is just trying to bond with the foreigner. Athena feels bad for the guy, who isn't fazed whatsoever, and walks away with a smile, determined that he too will find a worthy Covenanter. Not sure what to think of him, Tsurugi heads to his meeting with the director, where Tamako is already present. It is there that Jarno appoints him as the new leader of the squad, leaving the ex-leader, Tamako, irritated once again. Next day at lunch, everyone notices her act distant than usual, most likely due to being taken down as captain, so to talk about it, Tsurugi heads to Veronica as the two converse and alert issues. This time it's two foreigners invading an amusement park, so to tackle them simultaneously, they are split into two teams, Tamako and Tsurugi, and Chloe and Mana. On one side, Chloe engages head-on with the male foreigner, going toe-to-toe in combat, whereas Mana shoots him from afar using her logic sniper. As the battle rages, Chloe appears to have reached her trans limit, and just as the enemy moves in for the final shot, Mana appears right behind him, ending it with a close-range shot. On the other side, Tsurugi does best to defeat Tamako, who seems hesitant to kill the female foreigner. This allows it to escape. Heading back, Veronica gives her an earful for allowing such a thing to happen, sending Tamaki to her cabin to cool down. Disappointed in herself, she quietly sits in her room sulking, so when the same enemy reappears, this time Veronica herself engages her along with Tsurugi. With her astounding ability, Restraint Bomb, she immediately has the foreigner on the ropes. Meanwhile, back at HQ, Venus consoles Tamaki, realizing what she has to do. She immediately enters a trance and heads to the battlefield. There, using her logic drive, her most powerful attack, she ends the foreigner in one fell swoop. As everything settles down, the whole team sits together to enjoy a full-course meal, when Tamaki apologizes to everyone for her rude behavior. That is when an enormous paradox zone is detected, but as everyone gets ready to dispatch, it mysteriously vanishes. Seeing this, Athena heads out of HQ, where a green-haired man, which Athena identifies as Lucifer, appears to be the one who caused the paradox zone. ALCA begin investigation to find the cause of the paradox zone, with Chloe doing her own thing and using the CCTV footage of the surrounding area, figuring out the woman that Lucifer used to trance. Disobeying Veronica's order, she heads straight to the woman, who reveals the man in question to be extremely handsome. That is when an alarm sounds. Three foreigners of a smaller scale pop up simultaneously. The team splits up, Chloe heading out on her own, despite instructions to stay together. As the battle rages, Tsurugi ends up underhanded and takes a major hit, receiving serious damage. Ending things on her side, Chloe returns to base, where Tamaki ostracizes her for leaving her teammates alone. Just as Tsurugi regains consciousness, once again multiple paradox zones are detected. The others still recharging their trans limit. It falls on Tsurugi to stall the demon puppet master and its numerous puppets. Meanwhile, Chloe and Tamaki once again argue, the former stating that it's her way of fighting and she isn't sorry for it. Just as their trans limit fully recharges, both spring into action, saving Tsurugi, and in a team effort slicing the puppet demon in half. Returning to base as everything settles down, Athena reveals to everyone that the reason behind that enormous paradox zone detected a few days ago was Lucifer, the fallen angel. In a flashback, it is revealed that Mana, as just an infant, was abandoned by her parents and left inside a locker. To this day, she places a letter inside that very locker, hoping that one day her parents might return and find it. But seeing this going nowhere, Mana appears depressed, causing Tsurugi to try and cheer her up. This obviously turns into a disaster, so as damage control, he plainly expresses his feelings to try and get through to her. That is when an alarm sounds. A snake-like foreigner has appeared and taken shelter in the city power plant. The team immediately heads there, but the paradox zone surrounding the demon makes it almost impossible for them to get through. Mana falls prey to the zone and ends up badly injured. Since the demon plans not to leave the building, Mana is brought back, where she rests in a sad state. Time is running out as hijacking the plant has shut down the entire city's electricity, with only a few hours worth of power remaining. As ALCA is planning their next move, Mana appears outside the plant. Desperate to prove herself, she decides to enter an overtrance, which will give her an enormous power boost, but comes with major consequences. However, at the last moment, Tsurugi comes up with a better plan, and using his shield makes room for Mana to use her logic drive, and in a single close-range shot, end the foreigner. The day is saved, and Mana, after a very long time, smiles. The snake foreigner, now caged, appears to have been working on Lucifer's orders. A few days pass, and the weather starts to get cold. Seeing this as an opportunity, the snake fools the guard, Kitaoka, into thinking that it is sick. So when Kitaoka enters the cage to check up on it, the snake demon takes control of his body, transforming it into its most powerful state. His paradox zone expands and takes Nanahoshi, who appears to be the closest to him, hostage. She, with all her innocence, tries to befriend the beast, even offering him her freshly cooked dinner. Meanwhile, assessing the situation, Veronica makes a rescue plan to crash the floor beneath the two and save Nanahoshi as they fall. This plan works and the snake demon is nearly defeated. Veronica, in her trance, tries to end it with her bombs, but Nanahoshi steps in at the last moment, saving the Demi-God. This act finally gets through and it separates itself from Kitaoka. Nanahoshi is nursed back to health, after which she and the snake demon named Quetzalcoatl form a contract and enter into their first trance. Elsewhere, Lucifer is witnessed standing atop a building looking down intently at the entirety of the city. Tsurugi invites Athena to spend time with his sister and father at the cottage, while they thought that the other Logicalists and goddesses had gone on an overnight vacation. Surprisingly, everyone's already at the cottage before Tsurugi and Athena arrive. It seems that they are throwing a party, having left the care of the headquarters in charge of the poor security guy from before. The first instance of absurdity takes place when Tsurugi's family thinks of the cliché, ridiculous scheme to trick his co-workers into attending his birthday. It's basically the ideal time for everyone to spend their day off together. Shiori, his sister, had sent birthday party invites despite the fact that it is not even his birthday. However, everyone starts preparing the dishes and decorations on the outside dinner table once Rentaro, Tsurugi's father, arrives with Veronica and Nemesis, and then he forces his son to reveal his feelings for one of his co-workers in front of other female guests. The even crazier part is that he had the audacity to ask that question just when Shiroi had informed Tamaki that their mother, Kasumi, died 7 years ago. Tsurugi rejects his blossoming affection for Athena out of embarrassment, and she takes it about as well as an emo teenage girl, rather than the century-year-old deity she is. After that, Athena runs away with shopping as her excuse, forcing Tsurugi to track her down. She runs into Lucifer in the streets, yet again, and he repeats his intention to visit Septpia in order to locate and experience paradise. He soon begins to see that Athena has really fallen for Tsurugi, despite the fact that she intends to return to Tetra Heaven after all this is over. As Tsurugi searches for Athena and finally finds her, Lucifer disappears. He expresses his concern to Athena to not trust Lucifer over him. Back at the cottage, Athena, Tamaki, Nemesis, and Olga join Tsurugi's family. Shiori and Nemesis enjoy a horror movie on her computer, while the latter casually adds that she is thousands of years older than Shiori. After Athena expresses to Tamaki her dread about returning to Tetra Heaven once the conflict is over, the latter reassures her that she has brought to Tsurugi for a reason, that he'll help her no matter what. Meanwhile, Tsurugi shares his concern with Olga, who believes that Lucifer's paradox is a gauge of power rather than a scale of intentions, and he is not necessarily the bad guy. Later on, Veronica and Nemesis pay a visit to a patient named Ash Paxton, and later it is revealed that Veronica is Ash's old subordinate. Veronica and Nemesis resign, and it is subsequently revealed that Ash got paradox disease 4 years ago from a foreigner from the realm of Monolium, known as an ice belva, and was evacuated to ALCA's Sapporo branch to be quarantined. 3 days earlier, it was announced that the ice belva had escaped from its confinement. Tsurugi, Athena, Nanahoshi, and Quetzalcoatl are entrusted with bringing back Veronica and Nemesis, who have recently arrived in ALCA's Sapporo branch. Although Ash is securely confined and his logic card recovered, the ice belva remains a threat to the lab tower. Veronica and Nemesis decide to travel by snowmobile to gain ground on the monster at hand. Meanwhile, Tsurugi, Athena, Nanahoshi, and Quetzalcoatl arrive at the lab, with the latter's goddess suffering from exhaustion as a result of Nanahoshi carrying Tsurugi and Athena all the way to the lab. When Tsurugi and Athena set off to assist Veronica and Nemesis in their struggle against the ice belva, ALCA lab leader Orlov Tunguska sends drones after the two, causing them to fall into an underground prison full of entrapped foreigners. Owing to Pieri's hacking abilities, it becomes obvious to Tsurugi and Athena that Orlov performed an experiment on Ash in an attempt to utilize an artificial overtrance using the ice belva. Tsurugi attempts to persuade Veronica to stop attacking the ice belva, and she disagrees. However, when the lab tower gets demolished, she finally retracts after learning that the ice belva is not the one to be blamed. Nanahoshi reappears and, with the help from Ash's logic cards, restores the ice belva. Meanwhile, Jarno arrests Orlov for his crime. Back at ALCA, Veronica feels terrible for nearly ending the ice belva. Even though she sulks in her unhappy state, the other members of the branch won't let her accept it. To comfort her, they all talk about how they violated protocol like her in past and been lousy logicalists, making her feel a bit better. The focus now shifts and centers around Olga Breakchild, the most arrogant and ineffective logicalist. His contradictory skills and motivations make him interested to observe and support because he is not a goody two-shoes like the rest. Meanwhile, Tsurugi, Tamaki, Chloe, and Mana finish yet another simulation run in record speed, where they engage and eliminate a foreigner named Enlil. As they depart for their new mission, Olga cautions the others since he himself can't participate. Tsurugi thanks him for his warning. Not minutes pass by and Olga visits Enlil in the basement. The foreigner agrees to create a covenant with him for a day because, as it seems, he has unresolved issues with Lucifer. Olga, who is depressed over the fact that he is still without a companion, pulls a Nanahoshi and seeks a partner among the foreigners who have been imprisoned. He is the type of character that presents a tough front while actually being very wounded. The other Logicalists don't mind him because they can see straight through him, and now that Olga is obviously getting desperate, even they want to support him. Later on, Lucifer casually visits ALCA and calmly informs Jarno of his intention to join ALCA by forming a covenant with a spare Logicalist. The director outright declines, outraging Olga as Lucifer is incredibly strong and well known. Olga is willing to go to any lengths to get a covenant, but will he be willing to endanger ALCA in the process? He goes back to the basement cells and, at the risk of granting Enlil 1 day of liberation, releases him. As expected, Enlil transjacks Olga. Hence, Tsurugi, Tamaki, Chloe, and Mana are dispatched to fend off Enlil. Following a devastating battle, the Logicalist manage to subdue the beast and seize Olga. He's brought to the infirmary where he awakens, though it seems his logic card has gone missing. Veronica assigns the Logicalists and foreigners to locate Olga's logic card among the debris after it is assumed that Enlil's release was a result of an inside job. Later, it is revealed that Enlil's basement cell opened entirely on its own before Olga even attempted to do it himself. This leaves him in shock, but not as much as when Lucifer shows up before Olga holding his logic card. Soon, others realize that Olga has disappeared. He and Lucifer in the meantime visit a temple crowded with worshippers who look up to Lucifer as their savior. While Lucifer is showing around his cult to Olga, Nanahoshi manages to spot the two using Quetzalcoatl's ability. It is later revealed that it was Shinobu who unlocked Enlil's underground cell and released him. The other foreigners then question Quetzalcoatl, who reveals that in the past he bargained with Lucifer for a gate card to Septpia in order to battle the Logicalists. Meanwhile, in front of his cult followers, Lucifer performs a trance and announces it as the emblem of ultimate power. Back at ALCA, Veronica gives permission to Tsurugi to operate with Athena, serving as backup. Meanwhile, Olga informs the city's residents that ALCA is employing Logicalists as test subjects. When Tsurugi gets to the city, he finds Olga and tries to talk sense into him by pointing out that Shinobu was responsible for Enlil's escape. However, Olga is beyond the point of no return and continues to fight Tsurugi, which causes Athena to appear and perform a trance. The two engage in battle. Tsurugi tries defending against Olga's blows, while Mana informs Veronica that the cult followers have attained paradox sickness. The citizens are having volunteer logic card implantation while waiting to be transjacked. Olga wants to create a new universe where Septpia and Tetra Heaven may coexist, but Tsurugi knows that Lucifer is using Olga as his puppet. Lucifer's power, wielded by Olga, manages to outperform Tsurugi in the battle. Hence, Tamaki, Mana, and Veronica have no choice but to intervene. Nevertheless, Olga demonstrates that he is far stronger than everyone united. He makes his way to the ALCA basement, destroys the cells that were harboring the demon gods, and sets them free. He and Lucifer return to the temple, where they implore followers to be transjacked in order for their paradise to come into existence. Meanwhile, the demon gods have been unleashed around the city, resulting in many paradox zones. This opens a portal to Tetra Heaven, which delights Olga. After just 49% of the residents have been evacuated, Jarno arrives with his staff to take over the command center. The Logicalists and foreigners go into a trance and are instructed to head into various cities. Tsurugi, Veronica, Nanahoshi, Tamaki, Mana, and Chloe, each one of them confront a demon god and engages it in battle. For now, it seems dividing the Logicalists into various sections is the best strategy. Despite the fact that the battle proves difficult for all Logicalists, they manage to activate their logic drive and finish the demon gods. But Tsurugi seems to be struggling against Olga, so Veronica moves in for assistance. He uses his shield to ignite his logic drive and diverts Veronica's repelled blows while absorbing Olga's at the same time. As a result, he deduces that Olga is capable of either striking or defending at a time. As a diversion, Tsurugi tosses his shield towards Olga while Veronica activates her drive. As the battle continues, unluckily, Tsurugi reaches his trance limit. Seeing this, Olga charges at him, but Veronica dives in front and takes it upon herself. Having won, Olga departs, claiming that this was a one-sided battle. Following this situation, Tsurugi and Athena are both summoned to the simulation room, which is packed with citizens seeking sanctuary. Amongst them are Shiori and Rentaro. While Veronica and Nemesis recover in the hospital, the city's paradox zones have steadily expanded. Jarno is approached by Tsurugi about a dangerous mission, who then heads to the gate and stands in direct confrontation with Olga. With Jarno's permission, he activates an overtrans and engages Olga, who in retaliation activates his own overtrans, spreading a paradox zone all throughout the city. While the zone reaches the command post, Tsurugi uses his enhanced powers to neutralize it to a degree. The two rivals exchange their views upon the word paradise, followed by a heated exchange of blows. Olga, using Lucifer's power, gains the upper hand and gravely injures Tsurugi. Everyone at the command post witnesses this and immediately makes way to the site, defending their comrade. Seeing this, Lucifer momentarily possesses Olga's body and assaults the Logicalists and foreigners, but Veronica takes it upon herself, getting knocked unconscious as a result. The former learns Lucifer made a pact with him only since he was the most vulnerable. Fighting the trans, he somewhat gains control of his body, but still fights Tsurugi. However, he and Lucifer have exceeded their trans limit, causing their logic cards to disperse. However, Tsurugi uses his shielding ability to trap all the cards there, saving Olga. But when he reaches the trans limit, several of his and Athena's logic cards end up dispersing. Following the whole ordeal, Athena wakes up in the infirmary. She is brought to Tsurugi, where it's revealed that one of the logic cards that he lost contained his memories of her. This, though saddening, was already expected by them. An earlier chat with Tsurugi and Athena reveals that they were aware that the logic cards would disperse over the globe, but they agreed that whoever had their memories of intact would find the other's cards. Despite the fact that the conflict between Septpia and Tetrahebit is now finished, the goddesses choose to stay with the Logicalists. Tsurugi eventually discovers his card in a field outside of town, and he and Athena wish to make each other feel complete again. The end. Thanks for watching. If you like this recap, please consider to like and subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell to be notified of any new recaps. And while you're at it, check out this new anime recap appearing on the screen.